Hi, this is KSP with Tape, and today you join me in the new Space Center of 0.21, which I was going to do a video about, but then kind of didn't because, well, loads of people are going to probably do other videos, and Scott Manley and Hot Gaming have already done videos before it came out, and it wouldn't be relevant, and I don't feel I'm relevant enough yet to do that with any real effect. But anyway, I do love how it looks, and I especially love how they've put an IVA view in the Kerman storage container, but that's not the point. Today is the first episode of my Duna mission, which I've been talking about for ages, if you've seen any of my videos, because, well, I love Duna, and it has an atmosphere, and is close, and is I find it kind of easy to land on now, which, all this talk, I'm probably going to look pretty stupid in a couple of hours. Anyway, let's go to the VAB, where my ship should already be loaded up. It's a fairly lightweight craft, relatively. As you can see, it's kind of... The launch vehicle is just these... I'll see if I can zoom out, yeah. The launch vehicle's just 3 mainsails with 3 stacks of fuel, which that was my aim, to have a pretty lightweight launch vehicle. I've taken things to the moon with this amount of fuel before, so now I'm going to Duna, which, yeah, it works, don't worry. It's a pretty light upper craft, and it's versatile, the actual craft, as you will see. And then there's this orbital kind of circularization and most of the transfer to Duna stage. And then we actually have the ship. You can see it consists of 3 long 360 tanks, 2 toroidal aerospikes for landing on Duna, as there's an atmosphere on Duna, and these have a high atmo delta V. No, not delta V, ISP, and a pretty high vacuum delta V, but they won't be used in a vacuum, and an LVN, the nuclear rocket for the vacuum flight. And then they've got drogue chutes and normal chutes for landing on Duna, and some solar panels and quite a lot of power, because it now requires power to move your craft around, or torque your craft. And you can see each of these fuel tanks has 2 fuel lines, which basically is for the simple reason that the fuel will go, that each engine can use all of the fuel. So it does burn from the side tanks first, but when they've burnt out, the toroidal aerospikes can still burn from the middle tank if need be. Hopefully they won't, because that might compromise the mission somewhat. But anyway, so it is relatively lightweight, especially compared to my other Duna lander, which is huge and 2-stage and slightly Apollo-like. And it has big, heavy landing legs, because I felt that I needed them. And all that will return to Kerbin, or probably, well, no, some more will return to Kerbin, but all that will return safely to Kerbin is the pod and all this stuff, because it decouples and is simple like that. Right, yeah, so action groups, I think that's all the parts. You can see it's strutted loads, and yeah, I think I've covered all the bases. That's pretty much it. It's just quite versatile, and can use all the fuel and things. Anyway, Custom 1 locks these 2 gimbals because it's more stable, and there isn't an SAS module, as you'll see, because the manned pods now have integrated SAS. Not quite as good as normal SAS, but I wanted to keep weight down to kind of make this as light as possible. Anyway, 2 is the solar panels, 3 is the aerospikes, and 4 is the nuclear engine, and there's nothing on 5, so I can swap between them with ease if need be. And these side things do break off when they do run out of fuel, and I no longer need the toroidals to, save weight. That actually increases the weight, but when I'm flying, it'll decrease it. I'm just trying to think if that's... Oh yeah, let's pick our Kerbinaut. Well, yeah, it'll be Jeb. And this is a new save, because I could have restored my other saves. I had 3 saves, but my main personal save was mainly on the moon, which has been remodeled, so it would have destroyed all of my work there, probably. So I didn't bother with that. My tape save didn't really have anything on it, and my Area 51 save, which was my test save, was just cluttered, so I kind of wanted a fresh start. Anyway, Jeb Kerman is there. That will do, I'll save that, just because. and I will post yeah, no, that is everything. So post commentary me will join you out on the launch pad.
Yeah, so this is just a pre-launch thing I thought I'd take a quick look at first. It's where if you launch from the Space Center and not the VAB, you get this little menu where you can select crafts and Kerbonauts. Anyway, let's go to the launch. It's taking a little while to load. That's just wonderful. And I'd like to point out, when I first planned this mission, I didn't know there would be a catastrophe, which you may have guessed from the title, that there will be a catastrophe. So the post-commentary that you just heard was oblivious to the fact this goes a little wrong. But enough of that. Let's keep that as mysterious as possible. So we're on the launch, just getting everything right. The ship weighs 213 tons. Got Jeb in the seat, in the pilot seat, as he is our flight commander. He's not best smart, but relatively courageous. Anyway, so throttling up, locking the brand new SAS systems. There isn't one on the craft, but you know, whatever. But it has it in the pod, and that's everything. This is incredibly fast, and now I think it speeds up to 4 times now-ish. Yeah, it already has, yeah. But it was really fast anyway, and I'm kind of throttling back because it's going so fast. And it's so nice to do gravity turns with the new SAS system, because they've just made it so much better. I'd love to hug the guy who did it purely platonically and stuff. Anyway, that's dropping the first stage, pushing into our gravity turn. Throttled up to counteract the slow in acceleration. Everything looks fine. Jeb looks happy as hell that he's going to a planet akin to hell. Well, no, Duna's probably cold and just sandy, not fiery and hellish. And I like Duna. I intend to do a series where I establish a base there at some point. Hopefully more successfully than this mission, but I should stop saying that, I'm ruining it. But the title, anyway. Trying to kind of bring this behemoth under control with that tiny pod, trying to fire the engines and use a little bit of gimbal, and just give up, fire them fully. And this stage does quite a lot of circularization, because I need every bit of fuel I can get, because I built this light and efficient. But anyway, that's pushed most of it, and we're dropping it. And it is, again, kind of odd watching this at 4 times. I think it's 4 times, because my screen recorder doesn't actually, for some reason it's started recording at about 4 times, so it makes things very difficult. Anyway, I'm pulling up a tiny bit off the horizon to stop me going over apogee, but now we've got perigee, and that's about in, that's fine. And that's us in orbit, just getting the solar panels out, and I get the transfer now, but I skip out a bit of footage until I've got it, because it took ages, because it took a while, because I had to do time forward by doing various things. Anyway, you see I've got the encounter relatively close. I'm just tweaking it now, because to time accelerate to the right place, I put something out on the launch pad so I could have full time accelerate. Anyway, that's hit the launch. Yeah, that's about as near as I can get it, so I decided to do a fine tune, bringing that in. And this takes me a while because I'm a perfectionist, so I skip out till I've got it, and then delete it, because it won't be exact, because my burns never quite are, because and you can see my I'm not great, and you can see my movement, my talking of the craft is taking up power in the new system, which I thought would be very difficult to kind of deal with, but it's fine. And you can see the probe down there on the launch pad that I used to time accelerate. It's a good idea. And in kind of a bit of news for just me being happy, and I just rearranged the settings there. But anyway, I finally figured out how to transfer fuel on Ubuntu, because it turns out they've just mapped the Alt key, the left Alt key, to the right Shift key. Never twigged to press that. But because they use Alt key as a base function for the window menu in Ubuntu, because I use the Debian Ubuntu system thing, because I don't like Windows, because it always viruses, and I'm stubborn and a computer hipster. But anyway, yeah, I figured it out, and so Now I don't even need the quantum fuel transfer system, and my ships will be less awful, and my missions will be less awful. Anyway, that's that out of fuel. Busting that out at 4 times speed looks like something fast. I don't know, I can't think of a metaphor. I'm tired. Anyway, that's looking good, just kind of pushing past. Anyway, figuring out the transfer fuel should make my next series, well, my actual, when I do actually do a series, I want to do my big starship, which if you haven't seen that video, go check it out. Very cool. Actual proper starship. That'll make that a lot easier, because it will need a refuel, even though it does have a lot of fuel. But that's getting away from this mission, and there you go. That's an encounter. That's pretty close-ish. But I want to make it a little tiny bit closer, because I overshot like a rude word. And yeah, they're bringing it down. That's fine. And I have no RCS, so I find movement. It's kind of foolish. You can't really do them. Anyway, I'm just kind of fine-tuning. I just jolted forward because that took me ages, because it always does, because I'm a perfectionist and don't really know what I'm doing. Because the perfectionist bit was a lie, and I just don't know what I'm doing. I kind of know what I'm doing. Anyway, I'm kind of rambling, so warping up, and this is still at 4 times. Most of this video is at 4 times because it took me a while, because planetary missions always do, but my landing is at 1 times or thereabouts. And I don't know, I guess I decided that not to use that. I don't know what I did there, I don't remember. It was a couple of days, it was yesterday. I just decided to kind of fine tune without a transfer node. Without a maneuver node, because you know what, I have no idea why I did that, but it had some reason. Oh well, no, I actually do bring it down quite close by myself without all this fuss. Anyway, yeah, so I'm just kind of fine-tuning, getting my descending node and ascending node kind of to 0, or not a number ideally. NAN, so yeah, see, that's not a number, which is less than 0. It's when it says NAN, that's a Java function, when it doesn't even recognize it as a number, so it's pretty much dead on. Because if you come in too high, you might get a polar orbit, or just a really awful orbit, and it screws up. Oh, now I do my course correction, because I want to do them separately to get it perfect. And there you go, 73,000. Was that not good enough for me? Okay, yeah, I think I got it to about 144,000. And I'm still burning on my nuclear engine. And it turns out in the Duna atmosphere, a nuclear engine has an ISP of 800 anyway, so I might as well not have included the toroidal aerospikes, but they are useful for extra power. Anyway, I just getting my encounter close. Yeah, 145,000 meters above the surface of Duna. It will be my perigee. So I'll just warp there. Watch Kerman float away. And, well, Duna catch me up now, actually. Somehow. Well, no, I caught Duna up, and now it's lagging behind me a little. Oh, and you just saw it in the distance there. Oh, yeah, that's my encounter. Oh, no, yeah, there you go, encounter. And because of the overbirth effect, I won't have to spend too much delta V bringing it in, and I leave it as an eccentric orbit, so that I spend less fuel pulling the orbit in, less fuel bringing the orbit down. And you can see Duna and Ike there, just quite nicely. They're just warping down. Kind of jolt, stop-start, because that's what I tend to do. And now I get a really nice shot of Ike and Duna, and this isn't quite as nice at 4 times speed, but I decide I'm going to stop and get a screenshot, and I believe this will be the thumbnail of the video. Hopefully, because it is a nice shot. Yeah, that's about there. And print screen, you just saw my print screen thing. That's the Ubuntu one, and I have 2 screens because I'm a badass and a nerd. And now Ike floats away from us. And Duna gets much bigger, and I do love the kind of ice caps on Duna. That's just such an awesome effect. The white on red kind of thing. and just test again, seeing how long it will take, and about 2 minutes. So yeah, I was pretty much dead on with that original burn. And you get a little overheat problem with a nuclear engine, but it's not really a problem. It kind of works out fine. My screens have just switched off because I left it for too long, and there you go. That seems to happen a lot because I'm always forgetful about my screens. Anyway, I'm bringing it in, and you can see the lines jumping around, looking like Duna's getting lasered. But fear not, it is just... oh, and I've got my Ike encounter. Kind of not going to Ike. I should one day, definitely. I've never been to Ike. I don't know if it's awesome or terrible, or just kind of a bit like Draz. Anyway, that looks pretty alright. And now I'm just going to get it equatorially so that returning to Kerbin is easier. Ha ha ha. No, but if I land on the equator, everything's much easier, and my return will be easier, because if I kind of have a high orbit, I have to hit more of a pinpoint, and I have less of a window for less of an error margin. Anyway, just bringing that down. Another 200 delta V burn. Hefty on fuel, but I have loads, and I'm burning with an atomic engine, so it's fine. And you get the little Ike rise there. And that's starting to come pretty well. And I'm burning slightly retrograde as well, so it stops it going outwards as much as possible. But it doesn't matter too much because, well, I do come down on the dark side, but I think some lights have been rearranged, and it does look alright, actually. Or as far as I remember. So here I decide to... Well, yeah, here I decide to burn onto the plow, which was probably a good idea. There you go, bringing it down. And I'm trying to get it on as near to the light side as possible. But, yeah, so that's kind of quite near the... But then I just... Oh yeah, then I decide that that's probably going to kill me if I come down that fast. Or use up too much fuel, so I waste more fuel. Putting it back where kind of in a logical place, but I will land on the dark side, but it's alright. And I didn't include landing lights, so I was kind of reluctant to land on the dark side, but it works out fine, actually, is it? Well, the lighting's fine, but the landing, as you'll see, goes pear-shaped, to say the least. And I'm retracting my solar panels so they aren't ripped off by the atmosphere. Not sure if they are in Duna atmosphere, but probably. I mean, there's enough for parachutes, there's probably enough for solar panel destroying. Anyway, activated my parachutes, got into the right position, falling towards dropping my gear, kind of getting completely ready for the landing. And I have done this before with this craft, and it's pretty routine landing on Duna for me, so this should have gone fine. And now we're into 1 time speed, but this, yeah, so I was feeling pretty confident, as I do. It's kind of become pretty much, well, not quite as easy as a moon landing, but alright. And I'm slowing my velocity so it doesn't rip apart with the chutes. And I'm using the toroidal engines. And this is when I kind of decide what would happen. Yeah, and I'm still getting 800 ISP, so I decided to use that as well to up the efficiency. Up the power now. Still getting 800 delta ISP, keep getting them confused. Somehow, those are pretty different things. They're linked, but they're different. Really want to slow it. Oh, can I just go onto the atomic to keep it really, really efficient, and just making sure it's still on a 800 ISP. And I think, well, the chutes take a while to deploy, not yet, and I'm kind of waiting nervously for them. But I know that it's ages before they deploy, so I'm just trying to kind of keep my speed down so when they do fully deploy, they don't tear my ship apart, which is terrible. Yeah, so we're coming down to 20,000. Jeb looks happy as hell, as always. And you may notice next to Jeb, there's lots of kind of little random colours on the side. That's actually part of my tabs menu that my screen recorder doesn't cut off because it's not very accurate. I apologize for that, but I'm sure it doesn't take away enough of the watching quality to make it terrible. Anyway, that's not the point. We're coming down. The chutes should be deploying soon. I'm in the cockpit. Terrible view because it's a bit of a rubbishy cockpit. It's a good inside cockpit, just rubbish for viewing. awesome cockpit is the new kind of IVA of the... Oh, there's my chutes deployed. The new IVA of the... What's it called? The lander... No, there's my other chutes deployed. That's slowing down nicely now. The hitchhiker cam, that's got a kick-ass IVA now. I have to say, I love it. Anyway, my chutes are slowing me and my engine's slowing me. I'm coming in fairly nominally. A bit of overheat, but nothing I can't handle. And those are fully deployed drogue chutes now. We're coming in quite low. I'm slowing down, getting it all pretty right. Occasional bursts are now switched to the more powerful engine, slowing it down very nicely. 70 meters a second, pretty close to the surface now. You can see the ground scatter. I'm at a kilometer over the surface. It's all going very well. Jeb looks fine. Burning my engines, keeping it slow. Check again, and that's my main chute deployment. Everything is looking fine. I'm expecting it all to go perfectly well. Coming down slowly, slowing everything down. Yes, I'm coming down straight. Everything's fine. Not too high above the surface. And everything looks like it's going to be a perfect landing. Coming in pretty slow. Under 100 meters now, and I'm coming in pretty well. Everything looks fine. But boom, what the hell? My engines fire, my atomic breaks off, and it all falls over. I don't know really what happened. That's an explosion, just some solar panels. And I am wondering what the hell happened. I still don't really know, because there was ground clearance. I landed straight on a pretty flat surface, and just smashed off my engine and destroyed everything. I honestly I still don't know what happened. And I'm trying to flip it back and things, but this went horribly. But fear not, I will send a landing mission, a rescue mission in the next episode, and that'll make it a lot more fun. And I'm still trying to flip it, and everything goes wrong. And as I've said, I have landed on Duna many times. I've got it right many times. This is the first time anything's really gone wrong. And I was thinking of reloading it and doing it again, but that's no fun. So I decided to do it like this. I'm gonna send a rescue mission to save Jeb, especially now that I'm gonna try firing my engines, see if that'll do anything. But I've got to save Jeb so that he doesn't go to the deceased menu. And yes, he'll come back, but that's not the point. I can't have a dead man on my hands. And yeah, no matter how many times I do the same thing, it doesn't help. I just keep trying that. But yeah, this is pretty screwed up, especially the shape of the craft stops that having anything. Anyway, extend the panels so that Jeb doesn't run out of power, and that pushes the rocket motor away, luckily, or it would smash. I'm glad it didn't smash, that'd be really bad. But annoyingly, that door is facing down, so Jeb can't get out, so it kinda sucks. Still, yeah. I've got to figure out how I'm gonna do all this. I'm just looking around, kind of EVA, but it's obstructed, so I can't exit. Anyway, so I hope you've enjoyed this part 1. I will be doing a rescue mission next, so do watch that. That should be a great deal of fun, because it is fun to do rescue missions. And I can't roll out of this, because, he'll need some help for getting off. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you liked the video, please like the video. If you want to see more, especially of this mission, or my Starship thing later, please subscribe. This has been KSP with Tape. I will see you next time.